Welcome to, you know what would be screwed up?
What's that?
If I aired this before the intro section and I just kind of dick teased everybody because you're back and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the intro before the intro. But here's the regular intro. So we have a 45% off code, which is the biggest sale we will have this year. Absolutely everything on the site to celebrate Black Friday is on 45% off. It is on a 45% off code. That's basically like a buy one get one, minus 5%. But who's counting? Yeah, so if you haven't tried anything on our site, or if you have a fan of some of our products, now's the best time to buy. And from what the boss man says, everything has been going spectacularly so far. We're stocked up, and if we are running low on stock, that's because you didn't take advantage of the email blast that went out. Because as soon as the email blast went out, our newsletter email blast that we do to let you guys know about amazing sales like this one, we started flying off the shelves. So it is going spectacular, and we would like to thank everybody who's participated, and we'd like to thank everybody who continues to be a Cast and Pain customer, as well as the listeners to this podcast, because you guys have stuck around even through losing Jamie for a little bit. Now he's back. So he goes into all that in this episode and more. He goes into where he's been, all the juicy bits you want to hear, as well as some recent revelations in his training. Now, I'm trying to keep this short, but I will let you guys know this. So he is going to be back on a regular basis. We will still have other guests, just like usual. We will do a rotation of guests, and we're just going to continue bringing the hatecast you guys know and love. Also, I would like to have a little special message to our UK and Canada audience. We hear it. You guys have been hit hard by some of the shipping costs going over to where you are. We get it. We also are very understanding in this, and that's why I'm going to be working on trying to get what sales are coming out to you guys a little bit before the newsletter on the secret Facebook group. So if you're a member there, you'll probably know what is coming up, when to order it, and all that jazz. We're going to try and get a pipeline together so that we can save you as much shipping as possible, because, I've seen other companies do this. They raise their prices right before Black Friday. We decided not to do that. I also see a lot of companies not care about, their UK audience or something like that. We don't raise our prices ever on the website, and we also don't. We do care about our UK audience, so we really want to make sure that we put, the best foot forward and try and give them as much notice on what's going to come on sale so that they can order with that in mind and not be, screwed because something went on sale then instead of there, and then, it's like playing money shuffle, and it's something I honestly kind of wanted to do, so I'm going to try and get that on track for you guys. But I know this has been long-winded, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and pick yourself up one of these hats, because the 45% off code does include merchandise. It does include a comfy shirt like this. By the way, Tri-Blends. These are my absolute favorite shirts to wear on my 12-hour car rides to Austin, because I'm too cheap to fly. Also, like I said, if you have not tried anything on the site, now is the absolute best time. It's starting from now until Monday at midnight. So, you better be signed up to our newsletter, because stuff like this is what... I burped while speaking. This is fine. I'll just start the show. Whatever. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the hatecast. I hope you aren't too mad at me for airing that little bit before the intro section. That was kind of a joke. Hopefully it went over well, or it didn't. So, that's the story. You're back.
I am back.
So, people have been, of course, where's Jamie, all that jazz, and I kind of went over it in the Bacchus launch hatecast that we did. I kind of went over the fact that you were gone, and I said that you you were currently in jail or whatever, right? I didn't go into too much of detail. If you're free to share that information, you can go ahead and do so. So what happened for the people at home?
It really was far less exciting than I'm sure the channers would like to believe.
No incel violence?
No
Okay.
incel violence. Really, it wasn't a crime of any kind. I violated probation back when my dad was sick, and it was just I didn't have the ability to get to a drug test that they, for whatever reason, deemed to be necessary that I have. I contacted them. We went through a whole process of negotiating back and forth because I couldn't get to the thing. The guy finally told me to come into the office, which is code for you're going to jail, and I just stopped reporting. So I planned on getting it resolved with a lawyer, but I happened to have some policemen ask me why I was walking along the side of the road, which was because I didn't have a license because of the DUI. And so they ran my license and found I had a warrant because I hadn't reported to my probation officer, and so I went to jail. Nothing exciting.
Yeah. So basically, no, it wasn't his fit of rage because he heard that November was a thing. It wasn't him flinging himself in a ball of fury at incels that he happened to find out were also involved in the Antifa movement. It wasn't anything that exciting.
Wait, incels are involved in the Antifa movement, or are you?
You haven't heard about that, have you?
No, because insofar as I knew, the incels were Proud Boys, and Proud Boys are the Fa in Antifa.
No, there's some incels, a small group of them that were involved in the Antifa movement.
Jesus, they're just spreading like
mostly red pills.
Terrible mold. Oh, okay, so they're red pills, not black pills.
Yeah.
Black pills, they're the guys wearing the small polo shirts with the pop collars, the Proud Boy things.
Oh hell yeah! Bringing 90s fashion back. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. American Eagle all the way.
Yeah, Abercrombie and Fitch, although without less banging dudes. No, Matt TV did that awesome sketch back in the day of Abercrombie and Fitch, and they were all secretly lovers. That was heavily implied, but never actually confirmed.
Oh, but I mean, there were a lot of oiled up dudes sliding around on oiled up dudes in those ads back in the day.
Hell yeah! Actually wondering how that flew. Whatever words. So, topic today is training.
I think that chicks masturbated to that as much as dudes were jerking off to Victoria's Secret in the pre-internet era. Honestly.
Let's be honest. That whole chicks don't do that thing is kind of a myth that I think needs to die.
I didn't even know that still existed.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, especially in the closed-minded, and I mean this in the nicest possible way. We look forward to your letters. Closed-mindedness of the South sometimes. They don't believe that chicks do that. They don't believe that chicks are heavily, involved in sexual activity and stuff like that. It's just... it is a bit
sad
backwoods. It is a bit of backwoods. Hey, I am excited about one thing. In the midterms, we did get approved for a casino where I'm at, so that's pretty cool.
Well, I'm happy for you. You're going to get a casino. They'll be able to.
Yes.
More poor people will be able to pour their money into not being rich.
Hell yeah. Well, more revenue for the state. So that I can finally have fiber optics here, so that I can upload these YouTube videos faster. Hell yeah!
Oh, they're gonna get you fiber? That's awesome.
That's the hopes. Hopefully, with all the gambling money.
Instead of squandering it like they do in Alabama.
Yeah. Instead of investing it in some mural that no one cares about, they can actually invest it in some infrastructure improvement that they desperately need. A little bit of rage here. So, training revelations. You had some.
I did indeed.
Let's go over that a little bit.
For anybody who's never been to jail, at most jails they have like a week-long isolation period where it's a quarantine period. So you get your TB test, and that way you're not spreading any communicable disease you might have. if you're detoxing, you get that all done, that sort of thing. Well, I had to go through it twice because I was arrested in Burlington, New Jersey, and then I had to get transported to Montgomery County in Pennsylvania. And Montco has a 2-week to a month-long quarantine, which is purely out of sadism. And so I actually had to do 3 weeks of 3 weeks of quarantine, which is very little food, no exercise, no nothing. So I lost. Famine. Yeah, exactly. I exercised incessantly, but I didn't eat much. I was averaging about 1,500 calories a day. So I lost about 35 pounds in a month. In the first month to 5 weeks, I lost about 35 pounds, and that was weight. Yeah. It was fucking brutal. I felt like I was dying. The last 2 weeks, I at least had coffee. And by the way, to anybody who is listening to this, who threw money on my books because I had a real tight month there, thank you so much. You guys, you made my life immeasurably better, and I will be getting T-shirts printed for you guys.
Yeah, he had the top shelf ramen available. Top
oh, absolutely. It was. I in there. I was living on. It was mostly ramen mixed with hot peanuts. Like I'd smash up the peanuts and make put that into ramen, and that'd give me 700 calories. And then I was just chugging coffee and exercising all day long.
You know what? Can you come out with a jailhouse recipe for people? I think that would be pretty cool.
Definitely, I can teach people how to make. They're called chichis, and that's what they call making anything with a ramen based. It's really just sort of like a jailhouse stew. But yeah, I'll put out some recipes for them.
Yeah. But anyway, so you trained like a madman doing basically what? So did you have access to any weights, or did you just do a lot of calisthenics?
No, it was a lot of calisthenics and suspension strap work. I actually took my top sheet that I had and just tied knots in the corners and the opposing lengthwise corners, and then corded it so it was like a rope, and then twisted it through the uprights of a bed or around a pole or whatever, and I did suspension strap stuff, chest press, shoulder press, curls, overhead extensions. So I did that for the first 6 to 8 weeks of being in there, and then so I was starving the first 4 to 5, then 2 weeks of eating a lot but doing suspension strap work. And then the remaining 5 or 6 weeks, I had weight room 3 times a week. It was for an hour a day, and we just had a universal setup, a bench and a squat rack. And then I got a job the last month I was there where I was doing I was working in a warehouse, and we had extra dumbbells back there, so I did arms every single day while I was back there. And what I learned was all those guys that I wrote about in the 50s who had huge fucking arms because they trained arms every day, that shit fucking works. We had a refrigerator full of milk back there, and I don't digest milk well at all. But what my entire day was I would drink 8 shots of coffee, go to work, and then start doing a spoonful or 2 spoonfuls of coffee per milk, and just drinking milks the entire time I was at work, and doing sets of biceps and triceps in between the stuff I had to do. And I put an inch on my arms in a month.
Yeah.
My arms are 17 and a half inches right now, or 17 and 3/4 inches. They were down to 16 and a half because I was so fucking hungry.
Yeah. So, that kind of coincides with what my most recent epiphany was in my training. So something I've started doing is smaller muscle groups like triceps, biceps, muscle groups that recover easily,
right.
Rear delts, side delts, stuff like that. I've started doing those every single day that I go to the gym. So that's only 4 days a week because I'm a weak sauce person. But, it's still 4 days a week. So I'm training biceps, triceps, rear delts, and side delts 4 days a week. I'm going to see how that treats me, but so far I'm actually it's a lot easier on your joints than just hitting triceps and biceps hard with this excessive amount of volume, right? Because you can kind of spread out the volume throughout the week, antiquate the volume. And it's just, it feels a lot better for me, especially somebody, I'm coming up off of a little bit of inside the elbow tendonitis, so my wrist kind of had this flexion that they do at the top of the pull-up that's been causing me some issues, and I'm working on it.
How are you flexing your wrists while doing pull-ups?
So, okay. You were gone for a little bit. I got up to 290 pounds.
Holy hell.
I got up there pretty fast, and I got up there in the Bruce Randall sort of way. I had gained a bunch of weight, and it was kind of chunky. Along the way, I decided to cut again, and the reason being is because I had something that's beyond my control that is highly genetic that I didn't know that I had. So, as you know, as you probably know, I was adopted. Like, that's something, my family history is something that I am completely ignorant to, and that's nobody's fault, but sometimes you just deal with the cards you're dealt with. Right. Somebody in my family had lymphedema, right?
Uh-huh.
So that means that when I got up to around 290 pounds, ironically, when I pulled my pants down to take a shit, I went ahead and browsed Facebook for a little bit, and I pulled my pants back up, and my skin decided to stay in that way that it has molded itself, because I was having a little touch of edema for some reason. So one of the ways in which to improved edema or lymphedema or whatever it was, I'm not quite sure, again, because I didn't go to the doctor because I'm a stupid man, was to lose weight, right? So I'm now at 259, and I seem to be kind of stabilizing that. It's completely gone, so maybe that means I need to be a little bit gun shy when it comes to the weight. So I'm thinking maybe 20 pounds a year, of weight gain would probably be better than the 80-pound bulk that I was going to go through. Because let's be honest here, like, you notice most guys who go through those 80-pound, 100-pound bulks, they end up being miserable. Now, there are some that do it pretty successfully, Bruce Randall being one of the success stories. I know Dallas McCarver, before he passed away, was successfully adding that much weight on a regular intervals. But as I look at it more and more, I think that if I want to compete longer, like if I want to go from, competing at 35, competing at 30, all the way up into the Masters division, having that long of a career, I'm probably better for slower weight gain. So,
yeah, I think it does lend itself to longevity. And quite frankly, I don't think that, and I mean, I'm speaking as a person who went from like 220 to 190 to back up to 215. I'm not quite as lean as I was, but I'm definitely, my arms are bigger than they were.
Right.
And so I know that I have really no room to talk, but I don't think that for longevity's sake, at least the science isn't there to support the idea that fluctuating your weight drastically is terrifically good for you.
Yeah, but it's for the gains.
Yeah, I realize that, but I mean, quite frankly, we're all going to die of fucking something. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think nobody listening to this podcast is really in this for the longevity.
No, well, I mean, some people are, and those people are called people who don't compete. Let's be honest here. But when it comes down to it, I decided to cut back, and that's kind of why I started to lose weight again. And I'm going about it a different way. I'm actually going to I don't know if this makes sense to you, but I'm going to experiment with bulking on lower calories and then having a cheat meal and using that to kind of bolster the amount of calories I need to gain weight, because I'm going to have chemical help. So recomp is kind of possible, if that makes sense for those of you in the know. So I think I'm going to try that route, give it a good 6 to 8 months. I got to cut this weight first. I'm going to get down to about 240 again and see. I know I'm bigger than before I started bulking, but I do think that I hit the sauce a little hard. I was having like 120 grams of sugar just because I was just trying to down. Because I mean, you've been through that before too, right? You have a lot of energy you have to consume in order to gain weight. Sometimes, I mean, you were talking to yourself about having to eat so much until you puked, didn't you?
I didn't quite get to the point where I puked, but I felt ill a lot. And
Yeah.
really, even while I was like bulking back in jail, I felt I was so fucking bloated from drinking all that goddamn milk all the time. So I mean, all
Probably
there was in my
making.
body was like jail food and like a half gallon of milk and ramen and peanuts. So like
Yeah.
it was rough for my body to digest that, and
Well, that's
it was
right. You don't
miserable.
eat peanut butter either.
No, no, and but I'm also not used to. My body does not require much in the way of fiber. So
Right.
having a ton of fiber plus all that milk to digest just was brutal.
I found out why that is, by the way.
Why is it?
So you have this mechanism within your body that kind of switches from utilizing fiber for digestion to these putrefaction enzymes, right? The same kind that you find in dead bodies, actually, that
Okay.
putrefy amino acids to basically digest your own body. Well, apparently, they've done studies on people in ketosis and people in, carnivore style typish diets, and that's the reason behind them adapting to no fiber, is they have this high production of putrefaction enzymes that kind of fix all that. Now, what's interesting about that too is some people actually naturally produce a high amount of these putrefaction enzymes, which allow them to adapt to a lower fiber intake. So you might be one of those individuals. That was kind of racking my brain
Yeah, I
too.
guess so. That's very cool that you filled me in on that because I had never heard of that, and I just knew that I had no problem shitting. And
It also
didn't.
kind of it also kind of fits why you were obsessed with the movie Cannibal Ferox.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes down to it, there's different ways to skin a cat, and I guess what you found is you actually would you say that you adapt well to eating less food and training a lot more? Is just something you adapt fairly well to?
I think so. I have a very strange masochistic side to me where it was like the more exhausted I was, the more hungry I was, the more pissed off I was, the more I just beat the shit out of my body. Because it kept my mind occupied. And, in jail, you got a lot of people laying around all day, depressed and shit, and they want to keep the lights off and all that shit. I
Bitching
wasn't
all
having
the
any of that.
time, yeah.
Oh my God. And telling incessant, like unrelenting, completely unbelievable lies. Like everybody in there had a Mercedes. Everybody had stacks. I don't know if you know what a stack is, but that's $1,000, and they all claimed to have many of them, and yet they were all begging for coffee off me and shit like that. It was like none of your stories even slightly make sense. So just keep your fucking teeth together. Like go lay back down and wait to die.
Yo, man, I got so many stacks, but for real talk though, I'll blow you for a cheeseburger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Except they're the most homophobic people on the planet too. So,
Well,
but they'd
it's
sit
not
there
gay;
all
it's
day
prison
long
gay.
and watch. They'd watch Wendy Williams. So they'd watch the local news, then Wendy Williams, then all those terrible fucking Jerry Springer type shows in the afternoon, and then like TMZ and The Voice. Dude, they watched the Wicked musical.
Oh, that reminds me. I was supposed to buy you a copy of that. So
Oh Christ.
when it comes down to it, it's interesting. You wrote the Feast or Famine. Now we have those being edited as we speak, and they are about to be published. Just to kind of give you, Jamie, an update
Oh,
on
sweet.
on
I
where
was
that
wondering
is.
what happened to them. I imagine everybody was
Yeah,
like,
it
okay,
was
so
a
what happens next?
it was a bit of a miscommunication, but we kind of got through that. We
Thank
got
you.
the information to get it, the files, and now we're kind of transcribing those and editing those as we speak. So,
Oh, sweet. Thanks.
Feast or Famine. For those uneducated on the subject, I am going to link the articles both. Actually, I think I'm going to go for the one on Blogspot because I like that. I like the images.
Okay.
And on your blog. So we're going to go ahead and link that in the description box below so you all can read out. So what is the feast or famine diet? Just so people are kind of familiar with it.
The feast or famine diet is an idea that I had actually prior to this ordeal. I was just able to test it out, sort of semi-willingly.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I'll get to it later. Oh, forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a historical basis in that if you look at people like the ancient Germans or as much as I hesitate to say this because you get a bunch of fucking weirdos screaming all kinds of racist shit, but Vikings, any group of people that had a campaign season where they would fight during the summer and kind of rest during the winter, they had everybody had a cyclical diet. Even if it was just like in the winter we have less food or we have more food, and in the summer it's the opposite. Most people had cyclical diets, and so they had the ability to build up strength and build up size, and then have some leaner months where they were more endurance based. And the Vikings in particular had this. You got guys who were so strong that like that mythical Viking, he carried that ship's mast for 6 steps before it broke his back, and it took 1,000 years for somebody to break that record, and it was Thor that broke it. A man who eats 11,000 calories minimum a day, is filled with gear, and has access to every modern convenience. So there had to be something to the fact that
antibiotics.
Exactly. So and in the summer, the Vikings rode everywhere, and that's what built their strength. Was they had terrific back strength and shoulder strength and bicep strength and leg strength from rowing. And so I combined that idea with the ABCDE diet, which was popular in the 90s, and was also the guy who came up with the diet is Torbjorn Akerfeldt. And how I remember that man's name, like 10 years after I researched the diet off the top of my head, I don't know. But I read about that diet in the 90s. What's that?
That's a mouthful, Torbjorn Akerfeldt.
Yeah. Okay. In any event, he had a diet that was called the ABCDE diet, and it was 2 weeks of undereating followed by 2 weeks of overeating. And the science showed that you would end up with a net muscle gain and a net fat loss from cycling it that way. And so I built the feast or famine diet, combining those to kind of stretch the periods of time that you did one to the other. Because quite frankly, I feel like your training is going to suffer when you're eating in a caloric deficit. And I mean, it may not suffer drastically, but it is going to suffer. You're just not going to have the same kind of endurance you have. I know that when I've dieted on nothing but protein shakes, which there are a bunch of different names for that. It's PMSF. It's protein sparing, or PSMF. Protein sparing modified fasting. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. All right. I'm on vacation right now, so my brain's only working at halftime. It's actually remarkably hot in here for some reason. But in any event, I'm at this resort, and I'm just like full of roast beef right now, and sunburned as shit. But
yeah.
So when I had those days where I would just diet on protein shakes, the beginning of my workout would be phenomenal. And then about 20 minutes in, I'd just be clock watching the rest of the time because I had expended all of my aggression, and because you just have aggression and stimulants to carry you through the first 20 minutes, and then the rest of the workout is just sort of dog shit. So I modified the program and the diet to kind of match what I had already tried in real life, because I knew that Torbjorn Akerfeldt had never attempted it. So it continues to be modified. It's the article series that is in progress is not complete yet, but I have set out, based on my own experience, historical experience, and the ABCDE diet, what I think is a good way to go about building a net gain in muscle and strength and net fat loss, because Torbjorn Akerfeld also wasn't concerned with strength. And looking back in history, maintaining strength is definitely necessary. So that's what it is.
Yeah. Something else that I've been researching recently, speaking of reduced caloric content, just for reducing food intake's sake, is something that I don't think many people realize. So one of the worst conditions you can ever have is an autoimmune disorder, right? So your body ends up attacking itself for whatever reason, attacking your joints, sometimes even the bad ones like attacking your own brain cells. It can happen. Some of these people are incels, but
you got to slip that in there, huh?
Yeah. No, not November. So these people have better quality of life, right? Their autoimmune symptoms improved vastly by doing a very, very deep calorie deficit. And I don't quite understand the mechanisms behind it yet. And, other people are baffled as well. So that's something I'm going to be doing research on myself, just because I'm kind of curious on that. So do you think that their time of, let's face it here, if you weren't, Vikings had an even division of food and workforce and stuff like that, because their community was built on just that. It was built on community, right? So
yeah.
You had somebody who made, or who farmed in the village. They were the village farmer. You had somebody, Norseman kind of does a good job. This Netflix show that's a comedy based off the show Vikings does a good job of kind of showing you, like, there was a law speaker, there was a farmer, there was a village livestock person, there were slaves, stuff like this. But everybody kind of had a division of food that was kind of evenly distributed from the very successful groups of Vikings. Because the unsuccessful ones just kept all the food for the kings, and their people eventually died, and then they eventually got attacked, and then they eventually just went to the wayside, right?
Right.
So the even distribution, so you have to kind of assume that because the kings or the jarls or whatever, they also went into battle, right? They weren't just sitting on their ass, like kings of today.
No, they absolutely led from the front.
Right. So they went through the hardships that their people did oftentimes, except for having nicer houses. And it's something that kind of is prevalent. But you had the same even distribution of food. So if the village went through a famine, chances are the Jarl went through a famine. And they still performed the same as the villagers did in the battlefield. And it's kind of interesting because if you look at the Viking culture, they actually went through periods of famine, periods of famine by choice, actually, because they were stocking up for the winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they knew that food was not going to be readily available. So all of their flora or vegetables or whatever that they had, they would put in basically a modern-day silo, do some interesting things with salt to preserve it, right? Beef jerky was something that they also had. Cured beef jerky and stuff like that. But they also kept that for the winter, kept it for bad times. So they actually went through periods of very, very harsh calorie restriction, right?
Absolutely.
And they were one of the strongest, bone density, muscle mass, fierceness. I mean, for God's sakes, highest testosterone, probably, let's be honest.
Oh, without question.
People that ever existed. And if they went through periods of famine in order to become what they are, it's kind of interesting that we can kind of take away being okay with being uncomfortable, being okay with lower food intake for a little bit, only to reap the benefits later,
Well, there's also a real, I'm certain that it's science. There's science behind it. There's a real effect of shared suffering creating a greater bond between people. So, if for no other reason than the shared suffering made everybody tougher and more cohesive as a unit, that was a good reason to go through that caloric deficit.
Yeah. And they shared and this is something that many people don't know, they even shared food with slaves. They even eventually gave the slaves a chance to become free men, right? So free people in the Viking culture. And then they would, of course, be indoctrinated into the village. They would be having their own, plot of land and stuff like that, apart from the slaves. And it's just kind of this way of life that we've kind of forgotten, because we can go to, Walmart and get our food and all this stuff. We don't have to hunt for anything, because hunting was a big part of their life too.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to kind of ask, so they had periods of starvation. They had periods of overconsumption, especially because sometimes drinking mead was more accessible than drinking water, depending on what season it was.
Yeah, and in many cases it was healthier, especially when they were attacking large settlements in Europe.
Who love parasites? These guys.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's cool and everything. But how would somebody go into implementing that? So you would do something like 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or how would you go about setting up this caloric restriction, specifically high protein? I'm guessing caloric restriction.
Yeah, that's what a protein-sparing modified fast is. It's basically just getting protein, and that's just to keep your body from becoming too catabolic. The idea was originally invented, I think, in the 50s, and they used collagen protein, which obviously is garbage. So it
has some unique benefits. I'm kind of split on it. It's hard to source right now, but it's pretty expensive too. I like collagen protein, but I think it's something that you can use in conjunction with your everyday food, though. I don't think it's something you would use only as only a protein source,
Well, yeah. But in any event, that was kind of an aside. Akerfeld used 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Right now, I'm of the opinion that it's a 3 week period is a little better. To 4 weeks, not because of the length of the diet is necessarily so critical, but it's the length of period of time that you can't train particularly exceedingly heavy. And even doing a 3 week diet and then a 4 week bulk period seemed to be a good idea to me, because you can strip fat off very quickly, and and you
it's
really
super easy.
I think it's better to strip fat off quickly and lose a little bit of muscle than just keep your strength low from slowly dieting over a long period of time. Do you have a take on that, by the way?
Yeah, I've tried it both ways. I've actually also tried reverse dieting, which I'm not a fan of those slow reverse diets. That's become kind of, I'll cover that first. So that's kind of become kind of a trend right now, is where you add in like 100 calories day by day, or, that equates to 25 grams of carbs, or, 25 grams of protein, something like that, a day until you meet your maintenance calories, right? It seems to be what reverse dieting is in its modern iteration. But if you get down to the point, like we're talking show, again, I come from the bodybuilding physique world. I'm not talking about beach body ready. I'm talking about show ready. If you get down to show ready, sometimes for some individuals that takes such a large caloric deficit, along with some people don't even count the deficit that you create through doing excessive amount of cardio or excessive amount of exercise as well, right? I'm more of a fan to get to the point quicker, because you're going to gain some water, but let's be honest here. If you're afraid of gaining like maybe a pound of fat after you've been dieting for a long time, you really didn't diet that much fat off. You're kind of being a pussy.
No, because a pound of fat's going to be basically, it's going to be imperceptible to the average person.
Right, and it actually, to be completely honest, depending on where you store fat, it could make you look bigger.
That's absolutely true.
Because even, especially the guys who are natural, they tend to look stringy. When they diet down, they tend to look just fucking gross. I guess that would be the way I'd put it. Like, just not very aesthetically pleasing. Like,
they look sickly. They look sickly
Yeah.
in a lot.
They look like they're going through an actual famine, you know? But when it comes down to it, I'll go on to the losing weight fast. I'm a big proponent of getting a large calorie deficit in, getting the work done, stop being a little bitch, stop making it take 24 weeks to lose 10 pounds. That's ridiculous. Stop it. You're wasting your life. You're wasting time. You should be in a growth period. And for a lot of people, you know, I don't know, can you afford 24 weeks to cut? Like, is that even make any sense to you?
It's also just a miserable amount of time to spend cutting. I'd rather be, I mean, because I'm not a marathon runner, I'm a sprinter,
Right.
and in everything. And I would much rather be extremely miserable for 3 weeks than moderately inconvenienced for 24.
See, I'm of the same opinion there. I've tried it both ways, and this whole slow weight loss shit, it's great, right? You lose, you know, weight slowly if you're super obese because your gallbladder will kind of yell at you, right? You know, that's why mine went, is because I lost it fast, and my gallbladder just stopped squirting out bile because I was dieting extremely low fat, or let me rephrase that. It's like my body was dieting on an extremely low fat diet because I was burning through triglycerides, right? I was losing a lot of body fat extremely quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So my gallbladder is actually out of my body now because of that. But if you're relatively lean, just get it over with.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even if you're upwards of like 25% body fat, you can still lose weight extremely fast and not have any of the loose skin issues, not have any of the, I mean, fuck, if I had to spend 6 months dieting, I'd probably blow my brains out at this point because that's just time that I could be spending building muscle, you know?
Exactly. It's time you could be lifting heavy, time you could be building muscle. And
that's another thing. You'll crash in strength. If you take too long, you will crash in strength. It doesn't make any sense.
I've never experienced the extreme crash in strength. I mean, people will say, well, what about your strength levels in jail? And that was due to the fact that I didn't have access to weights. And in answer to the questions, when I went in, I was benching, I was just back to benching 405. I was strict pressing 275. I was front squatting 560. And right now, after a month, I'm back to like a 345 close grip bench. My overhead press was crushed. It's 215 right now, and my front squat's around like 415. But that's not bad for a month of 3 days a week. I really only had three training sessions and got my squat back there. You know, so
once you get back to grease in the groove, I think you'll be up there in no time. That's definitely another thing.
I look pretty though. Because I was doing all of that TRX movement, all that TRX movement stuff. My shoulders looked crazy. I mean, now my arms are starting to overpower my shoulders, but my shoulders were just blowing off my arms for a while because I was just constantly training shoulders. I just love training them. So
I did want to kind of get your opinion on something. So going through this transformation that you've went through, and it might not be a big transformation, or it might not. It may be. You know, the next hatecast that you're on with me, I'd like to do video if you're open to that.
Yeah, sure.
So because we've kind of implemented the video thing now. But when it comes down to it, I wanted to know your opinion on what you think of these people having this almost zealot-like hate towards changing or dropping certain movements because they think that it's going to take away from their physique. For example, you have somebody that will never take out flat barbell bench press from their training regimen because they believe that it's going to make their chest smaller, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? I'm always going to do the same thing every day for the rest of my training years sort of mentality, because that seems to be popular right now. Specifically training for a specific movement always and forever. So what do you think about that?
I think that demonstrates, one, a fundamental lack of appreciation for the fact that the only things you're going to be good at are the things you enjoy. And so if you're constantly forcing yourself through workouts you don't enjoy, you're going to keep fucking sucking at it. Um, and it also demonstrates an inability to understand that life throws you a lot of curveballs. Life's going to change around a lot. I mean, like for instance, you might end up in jail for 3 months because you missed an appointment with a probation officer. Um, Shit happens, or your kid could get sick, or you could break your leg, or any number of things could happen. And in that time, if you just steadfastly refuse to adapt to the changing situation, or even if you just happen to lose interest in training for a while, and doing something different might reignite your interest in training, you're just going to suck at it. So steadfastly sticking to set exercises is a fucking stupid thing to do. I've completely dropped the back squat out of my programming, and I've never been stronger.
Yeah.
I don't ever deadlift. I walked in. The guys were deadlifting 500 on a bar that had no knurling. I hadn't pulled in 4 years. I hadn't deadlifted. I walked in cold, pulled 500, set it back down, and I was like, all right. And that was the second day I was back in the gym. I hadn't even lifted. So, yeah. I mean, it's just like lifting those lifts exist because certain people were good at them and they were the ones organizing the meets. You don't have to do those lifts. So the bench press is not the end all be all of chest exercises. Cable crossovers will give you a damn good looking chest. You won't be particularly strong, but you look good. I mean, just do what's fun. Everybody's gotten locked into the idea that they have to do certain things, and it's stupid. Who says you have to do those things? Nobody. Or some fucking pussy on the internet that you don't know. But
oh yeah, Reddit.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But I mean, and you ask 10 people who are strong what their favorite exercise is for a given body part, you would get 10 different answers. And even if you get the same exercise, you're going to get different ways to train it. Yeah. So, who's to say what's right?
That's something I've been, because you mentioned that you did the TRX style stuff. Now, do you think that your strength and training and all that stuff benefited from your time? Man, that's not how to use that word. From that time using the TRX-like movements, and do you think that it's something that you'll just sprinkle in again?
I know that doing high rep rows keeps my back strong. I know that for a fact, and I had the theory because of the Vikings, and so I've just been rowing all the time. Every time I get the opportunity to do some rows, I do some rows, and it works. My back looks phenomenal. I lost almost no strength on my back. I'm gonna go do rows in a little while. I didn't bring straps with me to this resort, but we actually have bumper plates in this resort and 2 squat racks and shit. So I'm gonna go have some fun with that. And I think that the high rep stuff does have its place, but it's more from a size and shape perspective than it is from a strength perspective.
Right. Because you're always going to be getting more strength bang for your buck using stuff like barbell movements and dumbbell movements and even cable movements too. I will say this: I am a big fan of changing the angles at which you hit your muscles from. Specifically because if you have somebody like Joe Blow number 1 and Joe Blow number 2, okay, the first Joe does bench press. Flat barbell bench press for 10 years, same rep scheme, same set scheme, same strength, basically bell curve that he's been using forever, because strength doesn't always go up. Sometimes it fluctuates.
It always fluctuates. I mean, if you look at a chart over time, your strength is going to fluctuate constantly. There's no
otherwise everybody be benching 1,000 pounds raw.
Exactly, and it's just stupid to think otherwise, but people nevertheless do.
But and then you have Joe Blow number 2 that for a while he'll do, let's just say for like 3 to 4 months, he'll do flat barbell bench press, and then he'll switch over to dumbbell flat bench press, and then he'll switch over to cable crossovers for 3 or 4 months, and then he'll switch back to flat barbell. I think that Joe Blow number 2 is going to be less prone to injuries in the long term, because he's not going through the same movement patterns, hitting his tendons and all that jazz from the same angle every single time he goes and trains his chest. Tuesday and Thursday every single time. And he's going to probably be a little bit stronger than Joe Blow number 1. Just because there is some validity to that. You know, if you hit your muscles from the same, I mean, there's a reason why people with labor-intensive jobs who do repetitive movements usually end up with bad backs, usually end up with sore forearms, carpal tunnel syndrome or something like that. It's because they're hitting it from the same exact angle every single time. And for those people afraid to change up their rep schemes because they're used to hitting trips, you know, they're used to hitting triples, going in there doing a bunch of singles and triples. Well, I'm sorry, but sometimes your body, you know, adapts well to doing triples, and then you gotta, you know, I'm a big fan of throwing a wrench in there once in a while and switching it up to doing like 20 rep sets or 15 rep sets, and then switching back to your bread and butter, just because I feel that it translates to more strength gains because you're adding more volume. Like there is this volume curve that everybody seems to brush past in the strength world right now. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I think to that, kind of there's a caveat to what I said before about enjoying what you're doing, because I also find that conversely, the exercise or the rep scheme that you hate the most is most likely the one you need to train the most. Like you most need to focus on in terms of like fixing sticking points and weak points, because it's people tend to really despise, like all these little pussies on the internet are like, you don't need a bench press. A bench press is bullshit. When are you ever going to need a bench press in real life? Those guys all bench like 150.
Yeah, yeah.
On a good day.
Yeah. No, and there's something still cool about having, you know, as much shit as we talk about training the big lifts, specifically squat, bench, deadlift, they make for a good little gym, you know, show of strength. You know, it's always fun to go in there with your friends or your training partners and everything, and hey, let's do like a little bench. Let's do the bench rounds, you know. You put on 135, you bench 135, your friend benches 135, then you put on another plate, see which one fails first, and the other one has to buy you dinner. That stuff is kind of fun. So,
dude, they did it constantly in jail. And also, all these fucking kids on the internet who can't bench like 300 pounds and they've been at it for a year, quit. Just quit what you're doing. Because, like, literally everybody in jail benches all the time. It's just what they like to do because it's just kind of the machismo thing. And they know nothing about training to the point where they refer to triceps as back arms. And I'm not making that up. Does that work, back arms? What? Does it work what? Back arms? I'm trying to picture, like, arms coming out of somebody's back. Like, what are you? Triceps. All right, shit. Yeah, because I need to get my back arms big. And, like... And
then Goro from Mortal Kombat walks in.
Yeah, seriously, they don't know anything about training, but they all bench 300, 315, 400, 500. Guys who, like, didn't graduate 6th grade, so they know nothing about loading protocols. They don't know anything about anything. They don't know how to eat. They don't know how to train. They live on fucking honey buns and jail food, and they just bust their ass and have a good time when they go in the gym, bench 400 pounds. There's no trick lifts. There's no fucking... They don't even hardly bounce it too hard.
There's no
periodization. A lot of them on racket themselves.
There's no periodizing anything either.
No, they just bust their ass. And then, you know what? When something hurts, they just deal with it. Rub some fucking muscle rub on it. Maybe they take a week off, or, like, some of them wrap it extra tight in, like, a ripped-up T-shirt or something. But that's as far as it goes. There's no prehab, there's no rehab, there's no bullshit. They just go hard and then fucking succeed.
It is crazy how ingenious they are in there. I mean, you know, I got some unique stories, and I'm not going to go too much into this because, you know, I mean, I can if people want me to. My uncle that was in prison for, 40 plus years, he taught me how to make prison LSD.
Really? That's fascinating. I'm interested.
Orange peel and gummy bears, buddy. It creates the mold that you can trip balls on. So.
No shit, really?
Yeah. you have to leave it for some indeterminate amount of time and exposed to heat, which, by the way, is everywhere in jail, because in Texas, where he was incarcerated in, they had no air conditioners. So, yeah, it was everywhere. But yeah, an orange peel and a gummy bear. So it's pretty ingenious if you think about it.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. He also told me, like, they actually, side story here, they made a movie that he was actually in, and it actually, everybody here know this. Before I say this, I am the furthest thing from racist, but my uncle grew up in a different generation, and he was super racist.
Super racist.
Super racist, yeah. Like, okay, here's a little side tangent. Anyway, I won't tell that one. We might tell that one later. I have plenty of stories with him. But, so they put him in a movie. I forget, it's the one, I forget the name of it. I'll have it in the description box below. But it's the one where the new warden comes in and he cleans up the prison and they find the bodies that was buried in the yard. And they actually got a black guy to play him. That kind of made him mad. So, but yeah, he was the person that helped them find the bodies in the penitentiary when the new warden came in. So,
wow,
he was a dude with a lot of stories, man.
And he was super racist.
Super racist. I'm talking, man. He's, let's see here. He was a couple years older than my mom, and my mom was born in 1940. So, super racist. He was that guy whenever there were gatherings, like, you would don't tell those stories, okay? Why? They're just stories. Don't tell them. Don't worry about it, but don't tell them. Like, keep quiet. It'll be okay. Yeah. Anyway. But I think a couple more things we'll go into here, and then we'll wrap it up, because we're closing in on an hour, man. Time flies.
Indeed.
But so when you were in prison, is there anything that you picked up that you're gonna carry with you? Because everybody has that little knowledge nugget that they have, that they get from various experiences in their life. For some, it's watching a movie, and for others, it's experience like yours. So, what is something you'll kind of carry with you, specifically when it comes to training or nutrition-wise? Anything new you found out? Anything you experimented with?
If we're going to go training and nutrition-wise, I will always own 2 dumbbells. In fact, I'll take that a step further. I will always own 2 dumbbells and a pull-up bar. With 2 dumbbells and a pull-up bar, you can have a pretty fucking sick physique without anything else. And when I say 2 dumbbells, I mean one that is about twice as heavy as the other. So maybe go, for most people, like a 40 and a 20, or a 50 and a 25, or something along those lines. With those 2, you can do all the arm exercises you need to do, and shoulders.
And legs.
Yeah, and legs. Although wall sits stayed my mainstay for jailhouse leg work, because I just didn't feel like doing anything else. There were a bunch of guys. There was a guy in there who was 50. Apparently, he was a crazy crackhead on the streets. So, like, he'll never amount to shit. But he's 54 and ripped to fucking shreds. And he had this entire sick calisthenics routine that would be incredibly marketable. And he had some clever name for it. It was something in sexy. It was some jail word in sexy. And because the entire purpose of the workout was to look good for the people who were watching you work out, and for when you took your shirt off in public. And this guy was he looked phenomenal. And
couple hip thrust in there.
Yeah, he did. He was not. But there were no women around, so it started to get a little uncomfortable from time to time, especially since he carried a Bible everywhere he went. But
he's wanting that cheeseburger, man.
Yeah, but just doing, for some reason.
Oh.
But I would get a sore chest from doing between 600 and 1,000 pull-ups a day. My pecs would get sore. And then looking up people who, because I'm writing an article on pull-ups, looking at people who have who have like really high pull-up records, they always have great chests. So yeah, so I mean, you can get chest in doing push-ups and shit, but really just you can get big fucking arms and shoulders and lats and chest just from 2 dumbbells and a pull-up bar. So I will always do pull-ups every day and arms every day for the rest of my life. And I don't mean every, like 7 days a week, but between 5 and 7 days a week, I will be doing most of that.
Yeah. Oh, something I forgot to mention too, a little bit of knowledge that I've obtained is after talking to a bunch of my friends who compete, I have actually found a use that basically makes the Smith machine a staple machine of mine.
Really?
Yeah. Surprisingly, if you're very, very muscular, something that happens is people oftentimes get either tight or very sore lower backs for no apparent reason, mainly because of either the things they're taking or the amount of weight that they're lifting on a certain given exercise. Because people, you got to understand that if you're one of these guys that squat who have extremely big quads, sometimes one session of squats is all you need for the entire week, because that session will be so overloading because of the amount of force that you are delivering from the floor to the bar through your tendons, your muscles, and your joints, that potentially you could need to use something like a Smith machine row in order to get the most out of bent over rows, so that you can take that stabilizing the weight situation off of the tendons and your sore lower back and all that stuff, because of how extremely exhausting having those gigantic bodybuilder, I'm talking pro bodybuilder size muscles are. So Smith machine rows are something that I've kind of played around with, and I really, really like them. Also, they can be valuable for the people that are taller, a little bit taller, because those are one of the things that always go, is your lower back, your hips, or your knees. You know, specifically when it comes to people like, you know, having little issues with your those things. But yeah, so Smith machine rows are pretty cool. They also allow you to squeeze at the top, which is something that can be a little bit difficult for people doing traditional bent over barbell rows. So
I think that's fascinating, and I guess it comes back to the fact that, like, what we were talking about, you're always going to find something new. So sticking with those things, like you're some fucking old backwoods curmudgeon with like a blunderbuss in your lap, is retarded. Like
blunderbuss, that's a word I haven't heard in a while.
You gotta experiment. Well, I picture like these 150-pound internet tough guys, just, you know,
with
angry,
their blunderbuss,
ignorant of everything around them, and you know, screaming about how the world's flat and you got to bench press every fucking day, or you should never bench press and you should squat every day, whatever it is.
Celibate because of society.
Yeah.
So, I think we've covered about everything, man, and I think we're gonna wrap things up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry there was no video attached this time. There will, of course, be a video in the intro section if my dog will stop freaking whining like a little bitch. There will be a video in the intro section where I will, of course, taunt you from using the clip that I recorded before this as a mean-spirited joke of mine. So, with that being said, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, there's no incentives, but we sure do appreciate it. If you dislike this video, you know where to shove that. And we will see you in the next one. Oh,
Briggity Bryce. When do you think those other 2 articles are going to drop, just so everybody can get the full goodness of the series?
Well, I am going to have to get that information from Ed. I thought we were going to have those split up into 5 parts.
Okay.
Just because of the length. I mean,
yeah.
Man, what are you doing with 72 pages?
Extensive, dude. I wrote extensively in there.
What are you doing? Did you buy them out of paper?
Dude, I was. not only was I buying a shitload of paper in there, but I was going around, and anytime anybody was like, they had a pen and they didn't, you know, they were half literate or not literate, I'd be like, you gonna use that pen? Can I have that pen? Can I have that pen? Can I have that pen? Give me the fucking pen. And then they just give me the pen. So
yeah, they must have been talking about you like, this guy's crazy. He'll just take your pen.
Dude, people were fucking terrified of me in there because I was just walking around because I had the music. So I was listening to deathcore the entire time, and my quiet growl's gotten fucking great. So I'm quiet growling along with this crazy fucking deathcore and just working out or reading constantly, and it scared the shit out of people.
You look like a fucking psychopath. That's what you look like.
Yep.
But hey, you're the psychopath we love. So welcome back. And
thanks, buddy.
That's about as gay as this episode's going to get. So with that being said, we will see you in the next one, guys.
Laters.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of your women. That is good. That is good.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no loving, that's fine. Fuck local radio stations, I got more plays than all of these rappers combined. I'm going again, I've been going in, I'm fed up with so many things, I gotta just let it all out. I'm talking about the shit they've been talking about, telling me I should do this, telling me I should do that, telling me things about rap, talking the truth and that stab in my back that will knock me off track. No, too many things have been building, been hard to deal with, I just been drinking. Remember my moves in the past, I'm wondering what was I thinking. Lately I'm living in fear, wondering what if the end is so near. All of this shit going on, the shootings are strong. One shot to the head and I'm gone. I'm losing control but I can't let it go, cause I'm trying to get more. And I've been in the moment, I've been in the zone, and I'm moving alone. I don't pick up the phone when my family call, I've been doing it wrong and I don't know what's happening. Trying to get what I just been imagining, getting close and I just been examining all of the fake shit the game has been packaging.
Power pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box, nobody telling me what I should rock, nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop. Recording till 4 in the morning, they snoring, I'm pouring my soul into every story. I'm writing, producing, I mix it, I master, I'm building my craft and I'm not looking back. I've been going doing things I wanna do when I want to. Everybody wanna get a win, but they not do. Everybody wanna copy you, but they not you. Everybody wanna be cool, but they not new. Whoa, look how I go, gonna be a dentist, I still got the flow. Never gonna lose cause I'm still doing both. Never gonna lose cause I've been on the road. Come to your state and I'm killing the show. Know that I'm young and I still gotta grow. Know that I'm working the most, know I'm never gonna choke, and I'm looking back down on the people below.
I've been keeping real.